I find your hood ornament hilarious. This is your look at the DC Direct DC Essentials Deceased, the Joker. DC Essentials is a line of 7-inch action figures based on DC characters with universal appeal, accessible to both longtime collectors and those just starting out, which delivers authentic detail from a company with 2 decades of experience creating high-quality action figures. Based on the popular DC Comics miniseries from 2019, Dceased, this DC Essentials action figure series takes the most popular characters in the line and turns them into zombie-like creatures. Before we get a closer look at the corpse prints of crime, that's pretty clever. The first thing we're going to want to do is figure out how tall the figure actually stands. So I'm taking the tape measure laser right to the very top of his head. I'm going to get him clocked in right there, revealing that the Joker stands 7 inches. I've got 7.066, but let's just write him off at being a 7-inch tall figure. We'll switch that to centimeters, revealing that the deceased Joker stands 17.9 centimeters in height. And obviously, for some size comparisons, we can move over the Joker that we will be looking at and bring in the deceased Batman that we did have a look at. It stands to reason that, yes, both figures stand at 7 inches exactly. Although you obviously can see Joker has a completely different tooled body. It's the same body, actually, that we did get with the other DC Essentials Joker. Batman still uses the same stock body that we've gotten before. I know I talked about in the earlier review. I still think, though, I mean, they could have added a whole lot more color. Going back and looking at the source material again, I really feel like DC Direct could have added a whole lot more when it came to the coloring, especially Batman. There really needed a lot more darker, contrasting colors, instead of just simply scratching and dry brushing the paint that they did to the surface of his gray body. I really feel like they could have done a lot more. They certainly could have done also a lot more when it comes to also their accessories. Like, unfortunately, Batman, Joker comes with absolutely squat in the way of accessories. Which means then, obviously, anything that we're going to be looking at the figure is going to be pretty quick. We can get right down to looking at Joker himself. Now, Joker here is, of course, from the Deceased line. He does get himself a brand new head sculpt, and I do like the head sculpt quite a bit. In the comics, he was shot in the stomach by one Harley Quinn, and then it ended up resulting in being a hood ornament on the Batmobile. It's a funny read. You should really check it out. But what we do get here for Joker is a brand new head sculpt. I feel as if the body is exactly the same. I ended up parting ways with my other DC Essentials Joker, but I do feel like the body is pretty much identical, just short of different colors. Obviously, the main draw here is the fact you get yourself a head sculpt, and I feel like the head sculpt is really good on Joker. So much so, I would say, if they ever release this guy again, do away with the red altogether and just release a classic Joker. I suppose it's all more afterthought saying that, because of course the state of DC Direct right now. But it really would have been interesting to see this guy not get so much blood all over his face, his shirt, and his vest here. If they had toned it down a bit, I feel this could have been really the great-looking Joker that we should have got from day one. I don't suspect it is the same Joker head sculpt. I feel it's a brand new head sculpt, of course, just slathered, speckled, and splattered in paint. You have the very visible-looking teeth on Joker's smile here. I do like the fact that the paint on the face, it looks like they probably have used a darker plastic and painted the white over top of it. But the eyes do well. They deliver a very stunning-looking Joker. You can see he's even got green irises, which is actually a nice touch. I like the fact his hair is messy, but it's still very much traditional-looking Joker. One thing that's interesting on the back is, of course, the big exit on the side, the back end of it here. Obviously, it looks like an exit wound. The hair is done sculpted very nicely, all done in green with a wash of additional black that's added over top of it. But overall, I like the head sculpt. I really wish if we could have gotten more DC Direct Essential figures. Go back to the drawing board on the original released one that we got and use the same head sculpt that we're getting here and just, again, do away with all that additional red. Some may enjoy it. Obviously, if you're expecting to pick up these figures based on a Deceased storyline, you'll be obviously more interested in this design of Joker with so much red all over his face, his chest, and all that other stuff. But again, I feel like this head sculpt is really quite a superior looking head sculpt. If it is so happens to be a different head sculpt altogether, this is really the one that we should have got, I feel, right from day one. Okay, we talked about his blood. Let's try our best to move past the blood. There's blood there. There's blood there. Oh, here's no blood. You can see underneath, and I keep continuing to peel this back. Sorry, it's just a force of habit of mine. It's all rubbery plastic. On the inside, you've got like a mustard yellow, and the vest is all nicely done in orange here. Again, you've got lots of blood splattered everywhere. On the side, you've got the little orchid flower. His jacket is generally kept to a very, very dark purple, but it's so masked by the purple because it's got all this additional black wash. It's very dirtied up. Now, where I almost feel like Batman could have had more, Joker I could have pulled a little bit of that back. I don't feel like he needed as much as he ended up getting here. I mean, there's black wash on everything. Really does mask the color of what it really should be underneath. He does have the additional discoloration of that black paint all over his legs, all the way down to his feet. And like with Batman, we can tilt it upside down. One thing that's different, though, in Joker's case, is he does have peg holes in the undersides of his feet. Nothing is consistent with this line. You'll have some instances where the DC Essentials figures have no peg holes, characters I feel should have had peg holes like Batman, and yet Joker does have peg holes. So if you wanted to, you can put him in a more dynamic pose. You can just use a traditional display stand. It works just as good. And it uses those same universal pegs, so those fit right underneath there. Quickly looking at the back again of his jacket, he's got the long-tailed jacket, and a discoloration of added some additional kind of grimy, looks almost like green, but I think it's just black on top of the yellow, but it just adds a little bit of off discoloration for it. I mean, overall, the figure is really good. The detractor in all of this is, maybe it's the fact that I really wanted this to be the Joker that we got from day one, and essentially it's not what we got. There I go saying essentially again. Like, the head sculpt is really good, the body obviously is good, but I feel like the additional red, if you're not in the market for Deceased, you may probably not be even wanting to pick these figures up in the first place. But I feel like that's again, such a great looking Joker head sculpt. This is the one I feel like we should have got from day one. Let's run through the posability on Joker. So his head is on a ball joint, but not only is it on a ball joint, but it's also on a hinge joint. So you get all the things that a ball joint would afford you, like rotating its head all the way around. I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't that kill somebody? Joker's already dead. Oh, that's okay then. You can rotate the head all the way around, but you can also hinge the head quite high back because he's got that hinge, and you can also drop the head quite low down. Now, if you do decide to pick this figure up, not because he's Deceased Joker, but he would be an ideal Joker if you want to display him in a diorama with a fallen Robin Jason Todd. And it would look like Joker's just beating him down with a crowbar. As of course, he's got the blood all over his face and his body. I really like that. I like it in the sense that I would display it probably not for traditional Joker, but if I wanted a traditional Joker, yes. I think the head sculpt is good, just doing away with all the blood. So let me correct myself on that. The upper torso is on a crunch, so you can move that forward and back. You do have a swivel on his waist as well. It's a little tight on my figure, but he does have the swivel on the waist. And you can give him a nice, good amount of hinging. You can do the Van Damme splits on Joker. Ouch. You can bring the legs forward and back. He has a swivel 3/4 up the thigh, so that allows the leg to rotate all the way around. He does have the double hinge on the knee. And he does have, of course, the articulation in the feet. Not much, only because of the cut of the leg. The leg cuff goes quite a bit far down. You still see there's a hinge joint in there, but it doesn't give you a whole lot to work with, especially when it comes to rotating his legs all the way around. His feet do rotate, but of course you've got the cuffs of the pants draping over top of that. And again, we can go back to the topic of why Joker has peg holes on the undersides of his feet, and yet none of the other traditional figures, the actual superhero build bodies, didn't seem to have them, not that I'm aware of at least. So when it comes to displaying Joker, yes, Joker you can put in dynamic poses, and yes, you can make use of display stands. And poor Bats, not only is he dead, but he doesn't also have the means to be attached to a display stand. And that's a bit of a crime. Again, the consistency problem with all these DC Essential figures. One isn't the same rule as the other. Joker has peg holes on the undersides of his feet. Batman doesn't have peg holes on the undersides of his feet. They don't have display stands, and they certainly don't have a lot of accessories. In a lot of cases, they have none. Man, Joker's having a tough go. Not only was he shot in the stomach by his pudding Harley Quinn, but he was also relegated to being a hood ornament on the Batmobile. That's rough. You know what's also rough, and far be it from me to be beating a dead Joker about the whole issue, but it's again the fact that none of these essential figures are really living up to the name Essentials. I know we certainly know by now sort of the fate of DC Direct, and whether we will be even getting any more of these figures is all sort of now in limbo. But any of these figures, you can look at them and just know that they're not living up to the potential that they could have been. Joker comes with no display stand, even though he's teased by the idea that he has pegals in the undersides of his feet. Why are you teasing us like that, DC Direct? And he also comes with no accessories. Even though technically, if you look at the hands on both Mr. J and Batman, neither of them had the capabilities of being holding accessories anyways, because they all have those, I'm going to claw and rip your skin sort of finger poses that they've got in their hands. Despite the fact, again, like these guys don't come with accessories, the Joker at least lives up to being a better looking Joker than the DC Essentials one that we got before. That one, which, by the way, I did part ways with because I just, honestly, I liked it at one point. I think I was warming up to the head sculpt, and then ultimately I just sold it. It really wasn't the Joker that I wanted it to be. This, by comparison, is a much better looking Joker. Of course, it just does have all the additional paint work across his face, which if my daughter happens to pick this up and asks why, Daddy, he's got so much red on his face, I'm just going to say it's marinara sauce. Joker was eating a lot of pasta with marinara sauce. He's also got marinara sauce all over his stomach and his torso. Daddy, he probably should have a bib. Yes, I think Joker should have a bib. But what do you guys think of the Joker? Let me know down below, certainly in the comments section, whether you guys have picked up this figure for yourself or based on this review. What do you guys think of the line so far? And also, if you're new to the channel and you're liking all the content you're seeing, because Monday to Friday, we're doing it 2 times a day. It's unheard of. Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when you'll find new videos popping up on this channel. And of course, there's going to be a lot more video content coming your way. The key to that is making sure you hit that subscribe button down below. The key to that is making sure you turn on the bell notification. And the key to that, of course, is that you keep your peepers peeled and come back to us. Come back to this channel where you belong. You're all welcome here. Come back Monday to Friday, 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.